Imagine you're a pilot in a Russian Su-35, the literal crown jewel of your Air Force. You're soaring through the clouds at Mach 1.5, feeling completely untouchable because your sensors aren't picking up a single blip. You think you're the hunter, scanning the horizon for Ukrainian F-16s, unaware that you've already been dead for the last 10 minutes. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's exactly what happened in June 2025. While the Russian pilot was scanning for a direct threat, a Swedish-made Saab 340 was loitering hundreds of miles away, quietly watching him like a hawk from the stratosphere. This plane doesn't have a single missile, yet it orchestrated one of the most embarrassing defeats in modern Russian aviation history. It picked up the Su-35's heat and radar signature the moment its wheels left the tarmac, feeding that data through an encrypted link directly to a Ukrainian F-16 that was flying cold, meaning its own radar was turned off to remain invisible. The F-16 pilot didn't have to search. He just followed the digital breadcrumbs provided by the Saab. When the AIM-120 missile finally locked on, it was too late. The Su-35 exploded over the Kursk region, and the Kremlin was left wondering how their stealthy maneuvers were being bypassed so effortlessly. This wasn't just a dogfight, it was a digital execution. If you're finding this breakdown of high-tech warfare fascinating, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to ensure you never miss these deep dives into the technology that is literally rewriting the history books as we speak. When Sweden first announced they were sending the Saab 340, also known as the ASC-890, to Kiev back in May 2024, a lot of people were actually confused. On paper, it looks like a clunky, propeller-driven commuter plane from the 80s. It's slow, it's loud, and it stands out like a sore thumb. Critics laughed, calling it a flying target for Russian long-range S-400 missiles. But those people didn't understand the $1.25 billion price tag or the year-long training cycle required for the crews. This isn't just a plane. It is an $85 million flying supercomputer. The Phantom nickname comes from the fact that while the plane itself is physically large, the tactical advantage it provides is completely invisible until the moment a missile hits its target. By the time the first operational reports emerged in mid-2025, the narrative had completely flipped. The Saab 340 became the most feared asset in the Ukrainian arsenal because it removed the one thing Russia relied on most, the fog of war. It turned the messy, chaotic airspace over Ukraine into a clear, high-definition digital map. It's the difference between fighting in a dark room with a flickering flashlight versus having the stadium lights turned on. The Russians realized very quickly that they weren't just fighting pilots anymore. They were fighting an all-seeing eye that never sleeps and never misses a detail. For the first 3 years of this conflict, Ukraine lived under a constant, terrifying shadow, the glide bomb. These aren't your typical missiles. They are dumb iron bombs like the Fab 1500, fitted with pop-out wings and GPS kits. Because they don't have a hot rocket motor, they are incredibly hard for heat-seeking sensors to find. Even worse, Russian pilots would release them from extreme distances while flying low to the ground. This exploited a massive weakness in ground-based radar, the clutter of the Earth. If you're a radar operator on the ground, your signal is constantly bouncing off hills, buildings, and trees, creating a blind spot that low-flying jets can hide in. It's called flying under the radar for a reason. For years, these glide bombs would just appear out of nowhere, leveling apartment blocks and frontline trenches before anyone could even sound an alarm. It felt like an unstoppable, invisible sledgehammer. Ukraine tried everything: electronic jammers, suicide drones, mobile AA teams, but the bombs kept falling. The psychological toll on the troops was immense because you can't fight what you can't see coming. Russia thought they had found the ultimate loophole in modern air defense, a way to deal maximum damage with zero risk to their pilots. They were wrong. The arrival of the Saab 340 completely deleted Russia's low-altitude advantage thanks to a technology called look-down radar. Think of it this way. If you're standing on the ground, a hill blocks your view. But if you're in a helicopter looking down, that hill doesn't matter anymore. The Saab 340 sits at 20,000 feet with its massive Erieye radar beam, looking directly down at the Earth's surface. It doesn't care about hills, it doesn't care about the curvature of the planet, and it definitely doesn't care about stealthy, low-altitude flight paths. From its perch, it can see air targets 280 miles away. That means a Saab flying over central Ukraine can see a Russian bomber taking off from a base deep inside Russia. It can track up to 1,000 different objects at the same time, everything from a massive strategic bomber to a tiny, lawnmower-sized suicide drone. This look-down capability effectively stripped the camouflage off the Russian Air Force. Suddenly, those glide bomb-tossing Su-34s were being tracked the second they started their engines. The Saab provides the big picture that ground radar simply can't see. It's not just about detection, it's about the sheer volume of data. It tracks surface ships, ground convoys, and incoming cruise missiles, stitching them all into a single, real-time tactical feed that is shared across the entire military. Now here is where things get a bit mysterious and controversial. There has been a massive debate in the intelligence community about a system called Link 16. This is the NATO language that allows planes to share data instantly. If the Saab 340 sees a target, Link 16 allows it to send that target to an F-16 screen instantly. However, back in 2024, there were rumors that Western countries actually disabled Link 16 on Ukraine's F-16s. Why? Because they were terrified that if an F-16 crashed or was captured, Russia would get their hands on the encryption keys and hardware, potentially compromising the entire NATO alliance's communications. It would have been like giving someone a Ferrari but taking out the engine. For months, it was suspected that Ukrainian pilots were having to communicate target coordinates over the radio manually, a slow, dangerous process that defeats the purpose of high-tech jets. But by March 2025, something changed. Observers noticed the kill chain, the time between seeing a target and firing, had dropped to almost zero. Rumors emerged of emergency modifications done in secret hangars. It appears the Link 16 might have been quietly restored, or a bridge system was built to allow the Saab and the F-16s to talk without risking NATO's deepest secrets. This secret tech fix is likely why the Su-35 ambush was so successful. The data was flowing at light speed. You have to realize that right now. Those two Saab 340s are arguably the most hunted objects on the planet. Russia knows that as long as these eyes in the sky are active, their air force is basically flying blindfolded into a knife fight. Because Ukraine only has two of them, the Kremlin has made it a top priority to destroy them. This has forced Ukraine into a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek. These planes never stay at the same base for more than a few hours. They are constantly being shuffled between secret airfields, hidden under specialized camouflage netting, and protected by the best Patriot and Erieye missile batteries Ukraine has. They typically operate in the far west, using their 280-mile range to peer into the east while staying out of reach of Russian interceptors. It's a nerve-wracking existence for the crews. Every mission is a gamble. They know they are the primary target for every hypersonic Kinjal missile and long-range drone Russia can muster, but the risk is worth it. Even with limited flight hours, the mere presence of a Saab 340 in the air forces Russian pilots to change their behavior. They fly more conservatively, they drop their bombs earlier, and they stay further back. Even when it isn't seeing a target, the Saab is protecting Ukrainian lives just by existing. But the Saab 340 is just the beginning of a much larger plan. The real nightmare for the Russian Air Force begins when the Saab 340 starts working with its little brother, the JAS-39 Gripen. Sweden has pledged up to 150 of these advanced fighters, and they are literally designed to work as a team with the Saab 340. The Gripen is famous for its digital stealth and its ability to take off from regular roads instead of vulnerable runways. When you combine the all-seeing eye of the Saab 340 with the agility and electronic warfare suites of the Gripen, you get a system of systems that is almost impossible to beat. This isn't just about adding more planes. It's about creating an integrated aerospace network that can lock down the entire front line. It means Ukraine can finally move from a purely defensive posture to actually taking back the skis. This combination forces Russia into a corner where they have to either lose their most expensive jets or stop their bombing runs entirely. This is a permanent psychological shift. The era of Russian air superiority is officially over, replaced by a sophisticated, Swedish-designed net that is slowly tightening around the Kremlin's ambitions. At the end of the day, the Saab 340 proves that the most powerful weapon in 2026 isn't a bomb or a bullet, it's information. By simply knowing where the enemy is, Ukraine has neutralized years of Russian tactical advantages. This unarmed commuter plane has done more to protect the front lines than almost any other single piece of equipment. It reminds us that in modern war, if you are seen, you are dead. As more Western tech arrives, and these systems become even more integrated, the ghosts in the sky will only become more lethal. It forces us to ask a chilling question. As the world moves toward a future where every move on the battlefield is tracked in real time by invisible eyes, is there any room left for traditional military strategy? Or has war simply become a game of who has the better sensors? We're watching the answer unfold in real time over the skis of Kyiv. For more updates on the tech that's changing the world, make sure to watch our next video.